Well, let me give you some background. The Bills are owned by the Pegula family of Western New York. They're philanthropists. Tom Pegula and his wife, Kim. Kim is very active in the Me Too movement. Kim is very active in women's rights, very active in charities in Western New York. They've really been quality owners of the Buffalo Bills. I think they were shocked. The organization, led by Sean McDermott, the head coach, and the general manager, Brandon Bain, had no idea a lawsuit was coming. They found out when everybody else found out on Thursday. Actually, they probably found out in the early hours before it was filed because the lawyer for the high school girl informed them, this is what is happening. You need to be aware of what Matt Araiza is being accused of. They said they wanted to try to find the truth, John, what's behind the story. Well, they don't have a lot of time because they're getting ready for a football season. There was enormous outpouring of anger in Western New York from Bills fans about the story. At the end of the day, over a group of hours, they decided they could not ferret out all the information. That's when they decided they would go ahead and release Matt Araiza rather than go through all this uncertainty of what's happened, the rumors, the innuendos, the accusations, etc. They just did not have the power nor the time frame. They run a football team, not to do an investigation. So they just decided to walk away from the player. We are told that the Bills were not told about Araiza being involved in this till July 31st. So they had an inkling that something had happened off the field with him. They went out and they called 7 to 10 other NFL teams that had interest in the draft in kickers. They asked other teams if these other teams, Tampa, Baltimore, Cleveland, had any knowledge of any off-the-field issues with Araiza. The other teams said absolutely not. Now, they met with Araiza at the Combine in Indianapolis. They met with him and interviewed him at San Diego State's Pro Day when he kicked here. And they had a third interview process. I mean, they do a lot of deep research on these guys. They had no knowledge whatsoever that anything like this was going to happen. They got to the end of the line and decided we're cutting the cord. It cost Matt Araiza $3.8 million in his contract. It cost him over $250,000 in guaranteed signing bonus money. There will probably be litigation through the union to get that signing bonus money paid back. But they're clear and free. You know, the question was asked, what happens to Araiza if he clears his name of these allegations? And there's a lot of layers we're going to talk about him. But if he clears his name, he might have an opportunity to come back to the National Football League. It won't be a week from Monday, I guarantee you that. It might not be 6 months from Monday. The NFL, I think, John, is under such enormous pressure to discipline players who step over the line.
Well, they should.
Whether it was Ray Rice, Kareem Hunt, where all this began, to the latest scandal involving Deshaun Watson and the final outcome of the discipline against him. Now, the league has no right to do anything with Araiza at this point. But the minute he is charged because he signed a pro football contract, he then falls under their jurisdiction. So there may be sanctions coming down road for Matt Araiza, but Buffalo's hands were tied. There was enormous social pressure on Buffalo to rid yourself of this player. And that coach and that general manager sat and talked for an extended period of time. I'm led to believe about 7 hours total, and then reached the decision to cut Matt Araiza loose. So there's the answer to question number one. What happened in Buffalo?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible because, you know, other athletes still, they say if they're a quarterback, they might get a little more slack, but if it's a punter, maybe they're quick to cut the cord.
Well, that's fans speculating. I'm not going to go there. Bad acts are bad acts, whether it's done by a Pro Bowl player or it's done by the 53rd guy on the roster. Now, there's a lot of fallout in the aftermath